into this industry because when I was little, my grandfather would visit from Miami, where he was living, and his best friend lived in Paris, and he was a veteran who had gone through World War II and freed people from the camps, and he married a French woman. And so he was American and she was French, and they had a perfume store. And whenever he would come, we would go to the perfume store and they would give me a bag filled with samples. And I just always loved getting all the samples. And that, I think, is what got me into fragrance.
Laura, welcome to the show. Please introduce yourself. Tell us about your brand, what you're currently working on, and looks like you are in the store as well. So tell us
Yeah.
the location and everything about your company.
Thank you. It's so nice to be here. So my name is Laura McCann, and I'm the founder and CEO of Adora Therapy. And Adora Therapy is a conscious fragrance brand. We use essential oils as the ingredient to create beautiful scents and perfumes that are healing for the mind, body, and soul.
Perfect. So how long have you been doing that so far?
So we started the company in 2015, and like very many businesses, that's about 8 years. So imagine every 3 or 4 years, we pivoted. In our current incarnation, we have a retail store, which is where I am today in downtown Asheville in the beautiful mountains of North Carolina. And we also sell online, and we sell wholesale to specialty retailers in the spa and wellness industry.
Incarnation. I love that word. I'm a Toastmaster, so I'm catching words that I can learn about. Since English is my third language, so I'm a fanatic when it comes to words.
Yeah.
What are the other languages that you speak?
We're both Polish, so
Ah,
Polish was my first language, and when I was about 12 years old, we moved to Germany. So I went to school in Germany until I was 20 and a half, and then I got
nice.
that I have a one and only and the last chance in my life to get a citizenship, American citizenship, if I move to America now. So I had to
Wow, congrats.
grab my dog and move. Thank
That's
you.
amazing. Oh, that's great. I have a quarter Polish. My
Oh,
grandfather is from Lvov.
Oh,
Um, yeah.
on
And
the
on my mother's side. And I speak French, English, and a little Spanish.
we're learning French. I was living close to French border, and I was traveling to Switzerland often. So French, I'm definitely passionate about French. It's a beautiful language. Claudia is learning.
yeah, it's a hard language to learn, but yeah, definitely. We love Paris. So our dream is to like move there for like 6 months or so.
Oh, wonderful.
When it
Yeah,
comes to fragrance, French is, I believe, the little
it
master.
is. Yeah. So I grew up in Paris from the age of 7 to the age of 21. And
Wow.
I'm American, but my mother moved there when I was a child. And so I had this wonderful experience, kind of like you, but the opposite. So I was multicultural. Yeah, c'est la vie. I have a coffee cup that says that. And then I moved back to the US to go to college, and I've been here ever since. But my sister still lives in Paris, and I have family in Paris. So I totally understand why you'd want to go live there. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and we have
Romantic.
the store here. Whenever we go and look for fragrances in Palm Desert, the lady said that they have to learn French, and everything they do, the trainings, because the brands are from there, they do the trainings in French. So everyone on
That's
the team,
amazing.
it's quite
I
fast.
think I like into this industry because when I was little, my grandfather would visit from Miami, where he was living, and his best friend lived in Paris, and he was a veteran who had gone through World War II and freed people from the camps, and he married a French woman. And so he was American and she was French, and they had a perfume store. And whenever he would come, we would go to the perfume store and they would give me a bag filled with samples. And I just always loved getting all the samples. And that, I think, is what got me into fragrance. But as I got older, I couldn't deal with the chemicals and the alcohol, and a lot of things made me very sensitive, migraines, things like that. And so now I don't use all the traditional perfumes, even though I love them. I have to do things that are very natural. So our brand really is like the perfect thing for someone like me, where you would like scent, but you need scent to have an intention, and you need it to have a purpose. And the purpose is not just to smell good, it's to feel good.
So You know, yes,
Yes.
go ahead.
So because let's say someone lands on your website, right? And they have
Yes.
no idea about any of the aromatherapy and the stories and anything. So like, what is the first step someone should take? Or is there any products they should start with, or any guidance? Like, how do they
Great.
do this?
Yeah. So, when I started out, I was not an aromatherapist and I did not know anything about it either. And I was introduced to it by the person who helped design all of the fragrances. And my big question was exactly what you just said, is like, I love this idea, but it's so complicated. I don't know what to pick. I don't know why to pick it. I don't know when to use it. I don't know how to use it, but I want to. So, like, how can we translate this to the average consumer? So, that is what we've been working on for the last 8 years. And what I would say is, people know a lot of different scent profiles, right? You might know that you'd like a floral, or you'd like a woody scent, or an exotic scent, or a citrus. So that's a very similar way with aromatherapy that you can make a decision. What we've sort of done is said aromatherapy is not just about the scent profile, it's about what each oil does. And in order to make that simple, we came up with like 4 key ways you might want to feel, like relaxed and calm, or balanced, or like more open-hearted. And so these would be feelings you want to feel. And then we have a way you can shop on our website that way. The other way is to shop by chakra, because we've essentially built a language around each scent that is the chakras, which are energy in your body. So then it would be more like, I would like to feel grounded. I would like to have more creative energy. I'd like to have more physical energy. And then you could shop by chakra. So you don't really need to know anything about the oils. Mostly what you need to know is what you want to feel. And then you either have to decide, and this is the difference also between perfume and aromatherapy, is you have to decide if you're going to use something that may not be something you love to smell. Because what happens is when you're using vibrational ingredients, essential oils that are botanicals made from flowers and seeds and plants, they literally have a vibration. And so if you are needing them and you're not there, you're low, let's say, on that chakra, you won't like it as much as something that you're high in. So people, when they buy perfume, they buy what they like. Here, you would buy what you need. And then as your energy calibrates to the energy and the frequency of those specific kind of like chakra scents, you will start to like them more. So it's quite different. It's a little bit more like healing and therapy, which is why it's called Adora Therapy.
That makes
So interesting. So
that makes
we're walking a lot, even though it's super hot here.
Mm.
Still walk a lot. And now, not now, but recently, I started randomly picking all the flowers and greens that I find, like anything that is like growing around us. And I just smell on them. Is that
Mm-hmm.
that
That's
I'm
yeah. Yeah. And what happens is as you calibrate and become healthier, it's like with food, right? Let's say you ate junk food, you need a lot of salt and sweet and fat for things to taste good. But if you clean up your diet, if you eat something salty, like you go for fast food, you're like, oh my God, this is so salty. Well, the same happens with your nose. Your nose starts to realize like it doesn't really like the chemicals. Maybe you start getting sinus issues or sneezing or allergies or headaches. So what you're really needing to listen to is like, my body's asking me to clean up what I breathe. Everything has chemicals in it, everything from your detergent that you put on your clothes to scents when you walk in a retail store or a hotel lobby, right? We're being bombarded by a lot of scents. They smell good, but most of them are made with chemicals. And so ultimately, when you clean up your nose, right? You clean up what you smell, you become very sensitive to things that aren't as good for you. So yeah, if you're smelling plants, a stick, a rock, even, a little bit of moss, and you're pulling in those scents and you're really smelling them, it's amazing. It's like having salad where you don't throw a lot of dressing on it.
there's a meaning behind it for sure. Then also, whenever we go to a store and there's a lot of scents, I'm sensitive to them as well. And Claudia tries to bring me and show me like different scents. To me, they all smell the same. And after like third time, I'm not smelling anything anymore.
And then you
Yeah.
get a headache because it's just too much. Too much.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, yeah. headache, and here too you can get this burning sensation from the chemicals and the for sure. Now if you're walking, you're grounding, and so the energy of the earth is very much what's going on, and so it's wonderful that as you're walking you're being attracted to nature, because that's what the whole purpose of it is. It's one thing to say it's exercise, but the truth is it's physically getting you in your body, and it's helping your body feel solid, and you're bringing the energy of the earth into you so that you can then expand and move your energy up and higher. So walking is such a wonderful way to work on your root chakra.
I love that. Yes, that definitely. Nature has been always the best way to clear my mind, my thoughts, and also like get into the right state of mind.
Yeah.
There is, I don't know if you're familiar with the map of consciousness, but there is a series of books that are written about the map of consciousness, about the energy levels. I can send it over if you haven't.
I'd love that. I haven't heard of it. No, please share that.
It's amazing. I already read, there's, I believe, 9 books that were written. I read a few already, and they're definitely fascinating. So you I'm sure like them. So let's talk about the aromatherapy and aura therapy, because that's I never seen something. Have you? I never seen something like this
combining it. Yeah. So Jim, my partner, and I were in Chinatown, and my daughter said, "Hey, do you guys want to go get aura photo?" And we're like, "Oh, that's so cool. What is that?" So there's this little divey place in Chinatown, and you can go and you can get a picture of your aura. And they use a method called Kirlian photography. You put your hands on these metal plates, and they have this vintage Polaroid camera. Shoot this little Polaroid picture, and it has all these beautiful colors around it. And we were like, this is so cool. Are we spiritual? What are we? And when we did it, we were like, okay, what does it mean? And the lady in the store was like, this is your past, this is your present, this is your future. She had a very strong accent, and that was it. And it was like, well, what does it mean? Does it really mean anything? So it was a wonderful souvenir, but we were just so eager to find out if there was more to it. So we started to research it, and we went online, and we saw there's all kinds of information about what the colors mean. But the truth is the colors don't really mean anything without the context of what you took the picture with. So every camera and every system has its own language. And in this case, she was giving us her interpretation, but it really wasn't like very actualizing. I couldn't do anything with it. So it was always in the back of my mind, if I ever opened a store, I would like to have aura readings. And that was it. It was an idea, right? And it stayed in my brain for a long time. During COVID, we had to reincarnate the business, and we were selling wholesale, mostly to spas. And of course, everybody shut down. So it was a little bit like a Hail Mary. We had product and inventory, and we said, what if we open a store? I know it's crazy, but there's going to be stores that are going to go out of business. Maybe we can get a good space, and if we do, maybe we can do aura readings. So we did that. We found the perfect location. And then my boyfriend at the time was working as an engineer full time, but he was an engineer. So I was like, you should do aura readings because it's technical and I don't know how to do it. So he said, let me research it. And he did the research. And because he's an engineer, instead of being a photographer, he found a system that uses software, and it requires some skill to set it up and to, use a laptop to do it. And there's printers involved and things like that. So he decided, I'll give it a shot. So he bought the system, and then it was like, well, how do you use it? And they gave you like a little book, and that was it. So we sat here and we did 100 free aura readings. And he figured out what the system does and how to use it. And then when we understood how powerful it was, and that not only it showed your aura, which is the colors that surround you that are your energy, and there's different colors, different placements of the colors mean different things, and it tells a lot about your personality, how you're using energy. The system that he picked also had a chakra chart, which showed your chakras, and it showed if your chakras were high or was low. And it was like, oh my God, this is fabulous, because we have chakra perfume, and we've always said you could use it, but nobody knew what their chakras were: high, low, good, bad. So it was so much education to get somebody to want to use it. with these two things coming together, it was like the razor and the razor blade. And before we knew it, we were able to really show people what they were doing. And then with the aromatherapy, give them the tools to then balance and heal the chakras and the aura. So this has transformed the business. And it's also allowed us as a couple, kind of like you, to bring together our skills and work together. And since then, he's retired and he doesn't work there anymore, and he works full time. And we're writing a book. So we're hoping to have a book come out next year. He's done over 3,000 aura readings in less than 3 years. So we've just seen amazing things about people's energy, and we've really learned what people are doing and why they do what they do. And it's fascinating.
That's
Love it.
amazing.
Yes.
We also saw on the website actually that you do pet readings, and that's
Yes.
attention because we have a dog. Our
What kind of dog?
German Pinscher.
Oh, cute.
He's 14 years old. He doesn't have gray hair, nothing. Everyone thinks he's a puppy. So
Aw.
I'm really interested. What would be his reading? Like, what
Yeah.
would
So, all the dogs, when we first started, we were doing dogs. We have a system where you put the two paws on the scanner. And we started to see a lot of dogs that were red. And we were like, oh, that's so interesting because people aren't red. So what is this? And what we found out is a lot of the rescue dogs are red aura. The red is like the root chakra, and it's fight or flight. It's trauma, right? They're very in their body and they're very aware. It took us maybe 30 dogs to start seeing our first dogs that were different colors. And then it was like, oh, I wonder if like a German Pinscher is this color and Chihuahuas are this color. No, every dog is different colors depending on the personality of the dog. So you can have dogs that are very green and very compassionate. You can have dogs that are blue and purple and spiritual like Yoda. You could have dogs that are yellow, that are analytical. And so it's really, really fascinating. I've done like 4 cats.
Okay, that's a new thing.
Our cats are, what are the cats readings?
Cats, so far mostly the orange and the red because they're very alert, right? But we did have a little kitten who was more like blue and purple. So yeah, I think we need to do at least 100 cats to kind of know what that looks like. But the dog population is probably, if they're a rescue dog, they're typically red, even if they're like a pure breed or a mutt. And mutts and pure breeds, if they've had like a healthy, they were brought up with love and they are just like, who they are, they're going to be all the different colors.
And it only shows that dogs also have personality. And
Totally.
It does combine a little bit with what you mentioned before with the map of consciousness, because like the number one, or how do you call it? Number one, or like the highest.
So yes, the vibration, the map of consciousness explains that when we are in a state of like anger, or if we are jealous, or if are sad, we operate at very low frequencies. And
exactly.
That would be probably the red color.
Totally. Yeah. The red color is that low frequency of fear, right? Yeah.
Yes. Most dogs, and that's why people that have like depression or some post-traumatic experiences, when they get a cat or a dog, they start assimilating themselves with the energy of the pet. And pets, most of the time, unless they went through something traumatizing, they operate always from the state of love, which is very high frequency. It's almost enlightenment, where they are full of hope. They're always excited the moment you grab the leash, or they're already hopeful and they're already inspired to go out and sniff on every corner. So that energy is much, much higher than most of the human, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Especially now with everything that's going around in big cities, we're like closed down to, even though the cities are big, but we're closed. Right? So that's what you mean is that
totally you're right. And so one of the things we did when we first started doing the pets is we did the owner and then we did the pet, and then we're always trying to see what the system's going to tell us. And Jim would do a aura reading where the owner would hold the pet or have their hand on the scanner and touch the pet. Every single time you would see the chakras that were low get higher. So let's say somebody had stress and anxiety and they had like something going on, then they have their dog and their heart gets bigger. They get more grounded. And so it was so fascinating. He always says, we can prove that pets make you live longer and that they really help you. And you'd be surprised, like somebody might pick a very stressed out dog because it actually makes them better. Some people need a dog that's calmer than them. It's not always like just, I want the perfect calm dog. It's all about matching energy to energy, and we help each other. And couples the same, we do couples.
100%. Freddie is just like I am, and
I wanted to say that I would bet all my money that same frequencies, the same colors, because they're just like exactly the same. They have the same moods at the same time. They're sick together. So
they're like bonded. Well, when we come to Palm Springs, you'll bring Freddie and we'll do all of your aura readings and his aura reading, and we'll see. You know, you can't really guess it. It's hard to guess because people want to be what they think they want to be, but what you are is perfect and beautiful. And, you know, we don't get to always choose, and you can't really tell energy from your eyes. It's, you know, maybe a psychic could tell or a healer could tell, but they're only going to be able to pick up certain things. What's beautiful about the software is it's not a human doing it. So it's very much like everybody's getting the same experience, and the system seems to be incredibly accurate. We've just had amazing results. So yeah.
We'll definitely bring my mom and Freddie over to
Perfect.
What's really what I'm curious about is that you combined, obviously the aura readings happen in at the physical location, right? You can't do it online. So how do you combine e-commerce doing online, where people cannot take the first step of doing the aura reading and then move on to the products that are basically accurate? How do you combine the e-commerce with the typical commerce?
It's a great question. So right now, our focus kind of as a business is retail first, and then online becomes a place where you can reorder. And let's say you came to the store and you had an aura reading. Often you buy something, so then later you're like, maybe I should have gotten that other thing. You can go online. Many people, because we're in a tourist destination and our location downtown Asheville, they've never even been to our website, so they don't even think of us as a DTC brand. So usually they're very surprised when they go online that we're like a bigger looking brand and we've got our act together. They really think we're just like a little boutique. The opposite is like, how do you do it online? So online, we have a quiz. The quiz is not going to be super accurate. It's really much more like what you do with foundation or makeup. You're just trying to help them get to a first place to jump off. What we know, and we're trying to figure out how to do this online at a scalable level, is, like I mentioned earlier, when people smell our 7 chakra perfume oils that are very vibrational, they usually don't like what they're low in, and they usually like what they're high in. So we have a little kit that's $40 that somebody could buy, and they could lay it out, and they could literally do like one by one and sort of decide if they think that they like it or don't. That would be a very good place to start. The other thing is, if you do any energy work, let's say you do Reiki or you go to a healer, or you're doing acupuncture, or you do yoga, a lot of times you know the chakras that seem to need support. A lot of times for women, it's the sacral is low because we have all the things that go on in our belly areas. Let's say you moved or changed jobs or had a breakup, you probably need to work on your root chakra. Maybe you're grieving and you're sad. You know, your heart feels tight. You have anxiety. So you could self-prescribe. It wouldn't be a bad thing. You're not going to pick the wrong thing. It's just going to be like all about what is your intention. And all the chakras work together. So if you're healing one chakra, you're working on all the chakras. So there's no wrong way to do it. It's really just all about starting somewhere and deciding that everything you do is an intention of breath and an intention of an affirmation of self-care. Those are really the key things that your chakras want. They just want you to pay attention. There was this article in the New York Times this week about a woman who did research on how when we're scrolling on our phones, we actually stop breathing. She calls it screen apnea. And when we're looking at websites, because what happens is we're waiting for the next thing to happen. Like if you're going through your email, you might even stop breathing. And if you get a bad email, your heart rate goes up. Like a lot of things are happening. And our breath is one of the ways that we know if we're calm, fight or flight, in a good, heart rate variability. It's all breath. So there's nothing that could be hard about taking an intentional breath, using aromatherapy, focusing on moving energy that's blocked or energy that feels like it's not, supportive, and doing that healing. So 7 chakras, you can't go wrong. 1 out of 7, the probability you'll get a good one, right?
The whoops are really good. I started experimenting with the whoop, and they do the stress monitor reading based on your variability. So especially for those who are power users for social media or
Yes.
notifications, it actually notices I am in the state of like higher, like I wouldn't say anxiety, but when I get a message and
Yeah.
sometimes I'm like, I need to respond immediately, or I have to take
Yes.
action. So it notices it immediately. So that's really interesting. And you see, but what I wanted to say is that you've mentioned intentions many times. I believe intentions is the first step towards healing. And there's even a whole philosophy originated in Japan called ikigai, where you find the purpose and you find your, they believe the word is ichigo ichi, where you find the purpose and intention for everything you do in life. And I think that taps perfectly into it. And because the winter season is approaching, even though in the winter is different than everyone else's winter, but we do love to unwind in the evening and do like aromatherapy or get into the hot bathtub with
Yeah.
water, some aromatherapy, essential oils,
Very good.
candles. So I
Yeah.
will definitely look into your products and get some products to test, find out what chakras.
Great. Yeah. 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 We kit that has all 7 chakras. It's our best seller. So like you asked about online, what we started to realize is people didn't want to have to choose. So we have little sizes, big sizes. If they're committed, they could get the big size because they can save money and use it a lot. If they're trying to figure it out, they might want a smaller size. So for a very small business, we have a lot of assortment because we tried to make sure we could address all of these issues. And so what happens is you just can buy a kit and everything's in it. Like you could split it up. She could have some, but it's a great way to get started. And our kits, our Aura kit is like $85. Our chakra kit is $80. And it's like a no-brainer. It lasts a very long time, right? And you can just start where you are and try everything. So yeah, it's been interesting to have a retail first strategy as a direct to consumer brand because we've learned so much from being able to have our own physical space and to hone in on the experience that seems to work. And of course, our goal is to give everybody exactly what they need. And that means that we've had to learn how to be good merchants, figure out our assortment, figure out the stories to tell, make it easy for them to understand what they need, why they need it. And so I'm just so thrilled with where we are today compared to when we were trying to grow just online and to sell our products just through other retailers because it wasn't working. And part of why is because nobody understood the first question you ask, what do I need? Why do I need it? How do I pick it? It's a very educationally driven category, aromatherapy. And so it definitely requires a heavy customer service kind of touch, high touch.
Yes.
We know how you started. We know where you are right now. So tell us, what's the plan? What's the future plan?
Yeah, the dream is we're perfecting the store. We feel like we've really dialed it in and we see what's possible. So we'd like to start another store. We're looking at different locations. We're trying it out. Yeah, we're probably thinking of like the New York area, maybe Brooklyn. Yep. And so trying to be in a bigger city with more traffic, right? With that comes all the additional complexity. And then also, how are we able to be in 2 places at once? So one of the things that for me has been very much driving the business at this point, because I've been an entrepreneur for 30 years, and this is like my 5th business, is this business needed to be soul aligned and it needed to also fit into my lifestyle. So as much as we're interested in building a big business, a great business. We wanted to also match where we are in our life, and we're, in our 60s beginning. And so how can we be near family? How can we be, and I have lots of family in New York, and I'm an ex-New Yorker. So that felt like a good next step. Maybe Florida after that, we'll see. Maybe the West Coast after that. So we're really trying to do this so that it aligns with where we want to be and the lifestyle we want to have. And then at some point, if it grows, somebody can buy it, and that's great. They can take it everywhere. But right now, it's very much about how do we get to be with people. And we see ourselves a little bit like healers. And so we want to be able to spend time with people, get to know them, and continue to hone in on the stories that we're discovering about people's energy. We don't want to miss it.
We are going to be driving next week from Florida to New York. She's from Brooklyn, but her family lives in Florida now. So we will be
Oh, wow. That's a long one. Yeah.
to see, because we're going to North Carolina, no?
We're gonna drive by.
You're going to
Right.
drive through. Well, yeah, come through Asheville. It's definitely on the way, a little detour, but it's such a beautiful place. You'll love it. It's such a fun town. Let us know if you're coming.
I never been, so we'll look in
Yeah. And if you like outdoors, hiking, it's going to be beautiful that time of the year. The leaves are turning and it's just gorgeous. Yeah.
I can only imagine. Yeah, that reminds us of Poland.
Yeah.
But I do believe that
Yes.
it's a good timing for you now in the company, because there's definitely a need for it all around the world. In Europe, which can be a market. I do
Yeah.
believe that in the United States, it's just starting out. We have Canada, we have later on Australia. We know that we work with some Australian brands as well. We met a few. We had events with Australian brands here in Los Angeles. So I do believe, and every time wherever we go, there's always this conversation about spirituality, aromatherapy, not therapy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's new, at least
Yeah.
my experience.
Yeah.
Good thing. I believe the future needs it, and we'll definitely need more of it.
Definitely. Diagnostic is important. So how can you measure something? And like a lot of the men, and you probably can relate to this, right? Because the women were a little bit more like intuitive, and the men want data. You have your bracelet and you have your thing that measures your miles, and you're hacking yourself, right? Like it's all the same, but you have a different intentionality around it. So like we just want to meet people where they are. And whatever is the entry point, it could be spirituality, it could be consciousness, it could be health, it could be wellness, it could be trauma. All of these things are the things that we're working on. And so we just want to be there and give them solutions and support them wherever they are.
I love it. Love it. So thanks so much for spending this afternoon with us. So where can people find you? What is I know you're going probably big on Instagram. Is that right? I saw you.
Yeah. You can do social media. We're everywhere: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. We have our website, adoratherapy.com. So you can go there. When you're there, check out the About Us page. There's a cool video that describes sort of our whole philosophy. And then you can do the quiz, and then you can shop by chakra or shop by, the mood you want, or you could shop by different kinds of ways, scent, things like that. Reach out to us. We are always on social media, like many brands. I'm very involved still, which is wonderful. And we have so much fun. Like, check out our TikTok today. We have a video of a dog aura reading we did this week. This gigantic Labradoodle who jumped into his mommy's arms, and it was as big as the mommy. And it was just so cute. So yeah, we love sharing the stories, the pets, the people, the families. And yeah, we're very excited. Thank you for having us today and asking all these great questions. We're always so excited to be able to share what we've been doing and what we're up to and what's next.
I love it. Thanks so much. And I will make sure to leave all the links you mentioned down below, so it's easy for people to find it. Link to your YouTube channel as well. We will watch the video. It's fascinating what you're building. Thanks so much for stopping by.
Thank you. We adore you.